Hey everyone, Shauna here with another review from my shelves. This one is one that I've been contemplating for quite some time, and I reread a month or so ago. Let me share it with you at this time. This is the popular Christian allegory that you may have heard of by Hannah Hurnard called Hinds Feet on High Places. Um, Hannah Hurnard was a Quaker, and then she became affiliated later in her life with Universalism and Universal Reconciliation as a doctrine. I'll talk a little more about that later. But she was born in England in 1905. Her parents were wealthy Quaker people, and she had a stutter growing up, and she struggled a lot with her faith and her beliefs. But later on in her life, when she was in her 20s, she came to a deeper security with God and was able to surrender herself to Him more, and went on to serve in the mission field in Israel for 50 years. She maintained a home in Israel, and she also maintained a home in England until she died in Florida in 1990 when she was 85 years old. But Hinds Feet on High Places was written in 1955. It's an allegorical novel, much like another novel that you might be familiar with called The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. But Hinds Feet on High Places follows the title character of Much Afraid, who seeks to develop hinds feet by going to the high places with the shepherd. So as we meet Much Afraid, she lives in the valley of humiliation, in the village of fear and trembling, with her two companions, uh, Sorrow and Suffering. And she, the book follows her journey out of the village of fear and trembling to the trysting place of the shepherd, then to the valley itself, through the valley and into the desert places, into lonely places, up to the place of anointing, and then finally up to the high places. But on the way there, she has to meet her enemies, because people in her family also have names that are their personality traits. And so she has relatives named Gloomy and Spiteful. Her aunt is called Dismal Foreboding. She is, as the book opens, she is soon to be married to a cousin, Craven Fear, and he's really not a good character. He's a bully. He's abusive. He's just bad news. But the book is a symbol for the Christian journey. So it follows Much Afraid as she learns to hear the shepherd, as she emerges from the valley, and then uh, she gradually goes higher and higher to embrace circumstances, and then to grow in her faith. It's a very interesting Christian allegory. It's I don't find it as plot driven. as the Pilgrim's Progress. It is quite a bit more philosophical than the overtly philosophical, I believe, than the Pilgrim's Progress, but it is very much worth reading and not as well known, I feel like, as the Pilgrim's Progress is. But there is a sequel to this book. Once Much Afraid reaches the high places, she decides to go back down to the valley. And the second book, Mountains of Spices, follows her return and the aftermath of that. So I hope to come back at some point and do a small review and a discussion of that. But there are lots of points in this book that are definitely worth pondering over. There's a lot of emphasis, especially in the early chapters, on the role of fear and how fear projects things onto our minds that can be much worse than the reality that we actually experience. Sometimes our fears are almost more tormenting to us than the actual reality of what we go through, even if the reality of what we go through is quite bad. But I really enjoyed this book. I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into Hannah Hurnard as a person. And if you read this book, or if you've read this book and enjoyed it before, please drop a comment in the comment box and let me know. It's always good to hear from my viewers, and I hope that you've enjoyed this brief little chat on Hinds Feet on High Places, a book that I highly recommend, and a book that will keep you thinking about it long after you put it down. Take care, everyone. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.